You ever feel like you're just failing? You're failing at life, you're failing your family, you're failing your friends. Maybe you feel like God's turned his back on you, or forgotten you, or is ignoring you. I was struggling for a long time, and have been struggling. If you watch my last couple of videos, you'll know that I'm dealing with been dealing with a little bit of burnout. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But for several years, if I go through a lot of my writings and everything, my public and my just personal writing stuff, probably wouldn't be surprised at how many years I actually have been uh, really have this feeling I'm a failure. Like I failed. I failed my family. I failed my friends. Um, I feel like I'm a let down to God sometimes, often actually, for that matter. Um, that maybe He has had this. He's wanted something out of my life that I just haven't been able to live up to. And I have that same feeling toward my family, toward my friends, that I'm just letting people down. Um, I'm letting myself down. I'm letting my friends down. And I reached out to a few people. I reached out to people at the church and reached out to, I guess I wouldn't say reached out to family, but as much as just kind of talking with family and friends, going to the men's retreats and things like that. But meeting with a couple of the people that I did, um, I kind of expressed some of my concerns that I said, I just feel like I'm a letdown. Um, feel like I'm just another grain of sand. I feel like I'm just here sometimes. I feel like oftentimes I'm just trying to make it from one day to the next. It leads to a lot of conclusions you can make on your own. I told one of the men that I had met with, one of the men from the church that I had met with, and I said, the conclusion I came to was that either God wasn't who or isn't who I thought he was, or he wants nothing to do with me, or he didn't care about me. And the thing is I was right on the former of that, is that God isn't who I thought he was. But it turned out that I was right, but not in the way that I thought I was. But sometimes, when you're being, whether you were going to say you're being tested, or you're being refined, you're going through the fire, whatever you want to say, you start really looking at things differently. And as I'm reading the book that I wrote here, so I had published this in 2019, and I was just recently diagnosed with autism. But the more I reflect on, I haven't even been reading through this book, but the more I just reflect on the things that I had written, things flash into my brain, or memories or whatever, I'm starting to go, it's making a lot more sense now. And it would kind of be nice to rewrite this book through a new lens, because I think it does make so much more sense. But I'm going to I'll go through, I'm just going to read a little bit out of here. That some of the ways that I thought I was just failing, and I've been going through this autistic burnout for a while, and looking at some of these things through this book, I wonder how long or how many times I have gone through autistic burnout my entire life. Has it just kind of been cycles of burnout? In chapter 5 here, I write, I continue to wonder why God does not relieve my anxiety, and my requests for help are left unanswered. I forget that each time I struggle, I continue to make it through. Is this God reaching into my life in order to control it, or does he maintain his promise of free will, allowing me to maintain control, giving me the strength to persevere? I've seen how many times I've been caught at the bottom of my own tower of doom, which is a reference to a little bit earlier in this chapter. Um, but no matter how many times I'm witness to my own life, I still feel that I am not in control, and I begin to question God's sincerity. I recall all my trials and my continued struggle in daily life. I wonder why it is I can't be who I want to be. Why don't I have control over the thoughts in my own head? And if I feel that I cannot control my own life and can't trust that God truly cares for me, then do I conclude that I am really without faith? Just looking through this a little bit, I've read through a little bit of this, trying to get ready for this video, just trying to look for a couple of things that I remembered that I, wanted to bring up, to mention. But kind of looking through this right now, I really have felt that my life, that I've just been a failure. Um, my my life is not meeting up to God's expectations. I had a lot of beliefs that I was a mistake. I've told people that I thought I was a mistake. Um, I said that I believed that God really does love and care about everybody. And I would look around at people and think, God loves that person regardless of what they've gone through in their lives and this and that. But I thought I was the exception to that. Why would God care about me? Because of all the failure, the things, the ways that I had believed that I had failed. And failed as a husband, failed as a father, failed as a friend, failed as a brother. My book that I wrote, about so many times asking God to take away my struggles, my pains. And I believed that because I was not healed, that was because of my failure to have enough faith. That if I had enough faith, I could ask God to take these things away from me, and he would. But because I had asked God to take them away and he didn't, I believed that was my failure at my faith. And it wasn't until I actually went through this kind of drastic point of autistic burnout that I started actually looking into this diagnosis that I got, or getting tested and going through all of that. I realized how much of it actually is related to autism and autistic burnout. I wasn't failing at life. I was just burned out. I wasn't failing at family. I wasn't failing my friends. I was looking at it the wrong way. I wasn't failing God. I was looking through the wrong lens. All these I shouldn't say all of these struggles, a lot of my struggles that I was enduring were related to this autistic burnout. But had I not gone through all of that, I wouldn't have analyzed as much as I have and learned as much as I did about the heart and the character of God and who He really is. Because all of my, I shouldn't say all of my, a lot of my beliefs about how the way I was and who I was, who I am, who God is, were just a little skewed. Um, because I think I was putting God into a box that I wanted Him to fit in, that was convenient for me based on my life and what I desired out of my life. But I am learning so much more. I've learned so much, continue to learn so much. And it's pushed me to try and it motivated me to try and share these, my experiences. And as difficult as it is, I don't want to. I want to be discreet. I want to be quiet about it. I want to hide. But that's not who we're called to be. That's not what we're called to do. And with as many struggles as I've gone through, and as many times as I've seen other people struggling, I've felt the need to kind of speak out as I go through this burnout recovery and learn more about myself, learn more about the character of God. Um, let's continue to lift each other up and shine a light. Let's be the light. Let's be the city on the hill to light the way in front of other people. Um, let's lift each other up and support each other. So that's what we're going to continue to do. So we'll keep doing, keep pressing forward, keep learning, keep asking questions, keep diving into the why. Why am I the way that I am? Not as a frustrated question trying to make a point, but as a question looking for an honest answer. So continue with me on this journey, and until next time, God bless.